Yo, what's up, guys? TG or Thunder God here, and in case you haven't noticed from my array like you know how they say warehouse, like wares, I guess, ware videos. Anyway, I have Sasuke Uchiha's phallus in my mouth because I like the character a lot. In case you haven't noticed, so today I'm gonna talk about him in the Kage Summit and his strength throughout the duration of that arc, and in Shippuden, but mostly that arc. And he sees a great deal of strength gain throughout the Kage Summit arc, where he got bodied according to most people. But this is trash logic, since they'll say, oh, Sasuke got smacked by the Raikage. But they'll blatantly ignore how, like, the Raikage lost an arm and was gonna suicide like an absolute idiot to try and kill Sasuke. And he probably wouldn't have, to be honest. So there's just serious downplay with Sasuke throughout this arc. And there's a lot of misconceptions about his strength growing throughout the duration of the arc, and I want to clear that up. And I'll benchmark him and compare him to like Sage Mode Naruto, for example, as that's a very common debate I kind of see floating around the Naruto community. Now, with that being said, starting off, Sasuke was weaker than Naruto at the start of this arc, which should be pretty self-evident as he kind of got bodied by B and like died multiple times throughout that fight. And then Zetsu blatantly states it, and Zetsu's pretty good gauge of people's powers and whatnot. So, it's pretty much implied that Naruto would smirk him. Is that a word? We're going to move on from that. What people fail to realize, however, is the insane amp over time MS users get with their visual prowess compared to Sage users. And Sage users seem to get their amps more immediately, whereas MS users and just visual prowess users in general get it more so over time, but hold a higher potential ceiling. A good example of this would kind of be how like Sage Mode Naruto is immediately stronger than MS Sasuke, but MS Sasuke progressed over time to kind of catch up or somewhat rival this Sage Mode Naruto. Or you can even look at Sage of Six Paths Naruto, where he was immediately far stronger than Sasuke. However, Naruto gained another half of the Nine Tails, and Sasuke was able to become a rival, much more of a rival to this Naruto, even equal. Not, don't debate me on which one's stronger, whatever on that. But essentially there is a greater potential yield for visual prowess users as compared to, Sage Mode users. That little preface out of the way, we can immediately see Sasuke's growth from his fight with B, with, him reacting and dodging to the Raikage's attacks point blank range with his base Sharingan, whereas, with his fight with B, he essentially just kind of got slapped around, to be honest. Like, base B with his swords was out maneuvering Sasuke and whatnot. It's like, I don't think base B is faster than the Raikage. I don't think that's what anybody thinks. So you can kind of get that idea off that alone. But even if you don't want to like take that and don't believe it, even Karen notes that his chakra is colder and more intense, directly correlating to his strength. And she specifically notes that his base Sharingan is even more intense and colder than his CM2 state. And this is crazy important because, the CM2 state is a 10 times multiplier on top of, the base. And it's like, Sasuke essentially got 10 times stronger from his base before from being angrier. So, there's that. But essentially that's kind of like a quick example of that. And this kind of persists throughout the duration of the whole, Kage Summit. On top of, acclimating to his Mangekyo Sharingan, Sasuke's also becoming more and more enraged throughout the summit. So, for example, the Sasuke that fought Danzo is much more powerful than the Sasuke that fought the Raikage. It's just something kind of like that. That's a really good way of putting it. And, it may not seem that way throughout the arc, and that's because, the 5 Kage individually are powerful, but they're also, like, all, jumping him at the same time and whatnot. Like, if you look at him versus the Raikage, he was more than likely going to win that fight. It either ended in a draw or the Raikage dies and Sasuke lives. And, like, the Mizukage was, like, jumping him with, like, Samurai, Onoki, and, like, Chojuro and whatnot. Essentially, Sasuke's just getting rat-packed. But he's also able to, defeat Danzo, who individually is probably stronger than any of the other 5 Kage. Maybe, you could argue Onoki, but I would still take Danzo over Onoki. And he's able to just completely body this opponent who, through sheer hacks alone, is able to keep up with Sasuke. And, this even surprises and blows away, like, Kakashi, who didn't even think Danzo could be beaten. And, this persists so much throughout the arc that, in fact, like, even blind and heavily fatigued after running the 5 Kage gauntlet,
that he's able to, fight Kakashi, and then he'll like clash with base Naruto, and he'll actually tie out with the Rasengan versus Chidori. And it's like, okay, this Sasuke, while blind and heavily fatigued, can still tie out with an inferior jutsu. It's just like, come on, man. This Sasuke, even at this point, is like superior to base Naruto. It's absolutely insane. And, it's not like this Sasuke is not. And this isn't even, even talking about his various hacks and whatnot, with like his Amaterasu flame control, which is able to, even block out like Raikage level speed fighters, however you want to say that. As well as, even like the Susanoo era. A lot of people don't even bring this up, like how fast it is. But, it's able to force like someone like Danzo, with multiple Sharingan and Senjutsu. So he's got like multi-step precognition. He's able to force him to, sprout a tree because he can't weave sides. Or, he's able to, he forces Kakashi to, use Kamui, someone with a Mangekyo Sharingan. The same Kakashi that could run up and chop lightning couldn't react to this. So it's clear that this Sasuke is just an absolute monster that pretty much got continuously stronger throughout the duration of the summit. He did peak while he was nearing blindness, so you could essentially say that his kind of eyes gave out before his strength did, as weird as that sounds. Essentially, 5 Kage Summit Sasuke is an absolute animal. It's really weird to me where like the stigma comes in, his power cliffs immensely. You can kind of see that with Itachi too, he's able to like combat KCM Naruto and like rival EMS Sasuke and whatnot. And Sasuke legitimately beat like most arguably the strongest member of the 5 Kage. So it's like when you stack that on top of, the hacks he has at this point, he's just insane. He's able to, slap around Kakashi to, bodies Akatsuki members on the daily. Crazy stuff. So I want to know what you guys think. Do you think this Sasuke could have slapped around and, messed with like Sage Mode Naruto, since, Sage Mode Naruto has like feats with the Nine Tails? Or do you think that our #1 hyperactive Knucklehead Ninja beats him still? Let me know, like and subscribe, and yeah, enjoy the video. Or wait, you already watched the video. Fuck!